Daughters of Reddit, what is something you wish your father knew about girls when you were growing up? Now that I'm an adult, I realize just how wonderful my father really is. Not just in comparison to others, but he is an objectively amazing father. He taught us children the hard life lessons while still protecting us. He taught us to be self-sufficient and independent. He taught us to work hard and don't give up just because things get challenging. He busted his ass to make sure we got to go on vacation and experience life. He taught me to hunt, fish, and fix a car. He also taught me to garden and grow my own vegetables. How to take care of livestock and other animals with compassion. However, he also treated me more like a son than a daughter. I only wish that my father would have acknowledged that I'm a girl and it's okay for me to like dressing up and that it's okay to throw like a girl. Granted, I got a full ride to college for sports, and that's partly because I had to hang with the boys and my dad didn't want me to be a great female player but just a great player in general. I think he messed me up only in the sense that it's extremely difficult for me to date. I'm either too intimidating to strangers or one of the boys to people I know. I think I lost my feminine side because I am so close to my dad and he was slightly dismissive of my emotional side. I had to be tough and stoic. I suppose I shouldn't complain, I just feel like if my dad were less of a hard ass and treated me more like a daughter than a son, I would fit in more. Maybe be able to get a date instead of always just being a bro. That being said, I am thankful for the life skills he provided and the protective eye he still has watching over his baby girl. 26YOF. Edit, news update. Got a lot of confidence from all the positivity and now I've got a date coming up with a guy who doesn't know me or my brothers and I get to make an actual first impression without being seen as one of the boys beforehand. Wish me luck. He seems kind and intelligent, I'm really excited to see what happens. Even if it's a flop, it's a good step out of my passive ways. My dad actually was an amazing man and I think very special as a dad. He really encouraged our independence and our want to learn about anything and everything, which I think a lot of dads forget to do. He focused a lot on education and as a result my brothers and I were reading very, very early, which helped us be interested in things like the science museum and the zoo and any sort of science program on TV. He used to just let us run crazy as kids because he knew how important it was for us to savor actually being kids. When I was little I made a mud pit in the backyard. We had a hole that our Weimaraner dug and it got filled with water, so 3-year-old me thought it would make the perfect mud pit. After about half an hour of playing by myself, my dad came outside and saw me, naked, covered in mud, in the pit. Where other parents probably would have been pissed, he laughed and grabbed the camera. As we got older he encouraged our independence and hobbies. For my brothers it was gaming, and I made a lifelong career from their interest in gaming. For me it was theater, then science, and eventually wildlife. My dad wanted to be a biologist but never had the drive or money to finish college, so I used to teach him all about genetics and about how the phylogenetic trees of various organisms had changed. He knew a lot, but wanted to know all about how science had changed and what the new concepts were. He outfitted me with field gear, and when we would go camping or hiking together, we'd rock flip and look for herpetofauna. He helped me with a plant project a few years ago and that was probably the most fun we had. He just never discouraged our interests and passions, which is so important. This doesn't really have a point anymore, I think I just needed to write this out. My dad died 3 weeks ago very unexpectedly and no man on earth could rival how amazing he was. He truly is responsible for our independence and wonder of the world, and I think more dads need to be like him. Dads, let your daughters, and sons, learn freedom. Let them explore the world and make an effort to be interested in their interests no matter how weird or dumb you think they might be. Let your kids be kids and do dumb things sometimes. Also, always let your daughter know that you have her back. Whatever stupid decision she makes, trouble she runs into, dumb man she dates or gets involved with, you've got her and you'll be there for her when things fall apart. My dad was so good about that. Treating every boy interested in your daughter as your enemy does both of you a disservice. My dad was very overprotective. Anytime a boy had a crush on me, he would be immediately added to my dad's shit list. Even if he was perfectly kind and respectful. After a certain point, I just stopped listening to my dad's complaints. In my eyes, he had lost the right to give input about my relationships. Unfortunately, when I was 17 I became entangled in an abusive relationship. My dad hated the guy. But since he also hated every one of my previous suitors, I didn't interpret his concerns as legitimate. On top of that, since he was so busy trying to prevent me from having relationships, he never talked to me about what a healthy relationship looks like. Make sure she is not afraid to bring home the person she is dating. Encourage open communication about relationships, dating, respect, etc. If your daughter is afraid you're going to be waiting on the porch with a shotgun or you're going to read the riot act to whomever they bring home, they are more likely to sneak around behind your back. Edit. It's not the threat of physical harm that is the issue. Most people would likely agree they've heard a version of this and laughed it off as a joke. It's the sense of doubt that it creates in young women. The feeling that they are not capable of making good decisions on their own when it comes to the relationships they choose to pursue. We keeps preaching that we want our daughters to feel empowered to make their own choices. It starts by removing the need for them to choose partners that meet your approval. Instead, empower them by teaching them how to navigate relationships, have the tough and uncomfortable conversations, let them make a few bad decisions so they can appreciate and identify what healthy male interaction looks like. My dad is a great guy. He just said the things that dads were supposed to say 20+ years ago. It always made me uncomfortable, but I didn't know how to express myself. That's what is so great about this thread: when you know better, you do better.